What would you do with billions of dollars in the bank? Buy a private island, launch your own space program, or try to change the world. Imagine you have more money than you could spend in your entire life. Now multiply that by 15. Meet the people who don't have to do it. Imagine the 15 richest people on the planet with personal fortunes that defy any belief. These fortunes are simply incomprehensible to most of us, with bank balances higher than those of some nations. These tycoons can buy practically anything they want, from private jets to Caribbean islands. But who are these billionaires, and how have they amassed such astronomical fortunes? Were they born rich, or did they rise to wealth from nothing? What secrets are hidden behind their success stories? Tune in to discover the secrets of creating generational wealth and whether money can buy happiness. Number 15 on the list is Gautam Adani, an Indian tycoon in infrastructure and commodities. His net worth has skyrocketed recently to $82 billion. He built his business empire from scratch, just like others on this list. His vast holdings include ports, power plants, mining, renewable energy, and much more. Born in 1962 in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, Adani comes from a middle-class family of textile merchants. From a very young age, he was focused on business and wanted to start his own venture. Adani started trading commodities like diamonds and plastics in 1988 at the age of 26 and founded Adani Enterprises as an import and export company. The big breakthrough came in 1995 when Adani made a bid to build and operate a commercial port in Mundra, Gujarat. This port became the core of his future empire and success. Taking advantage of the cash flows from this port, Adani quickly expanded into power generation. Each new business was integrated almost like a well-oiled machine. Today, Adani Enterprises has become a multinational conglomerate that spans airports, data centers, defense, manufacturing, renewable energy, and media, making him the richest person in the country. Just in the last 3 years, he has increased his net worth by $60 billion, one of the fastest increases in history. Critics have questioned the rapid growth of leveraged buyouts and stock prices, but Adani has big future ambitions in infrastructure and, above all, in renewable energy. Recently, his companies have faced accusations of stock manipulation and accounting fraud from short sellers, accusations that Adani vehemently denies. Whatever the case may be, no one can dispute Adani and his lieutenant's phenomenal ability to build profitable businesses. At number 14 is Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York and founder of Bloomberg Media and the financial services empire. Bloomberg, he founded his company in 1981 as a provider of financial data. His net worth now stands at $96 billion, although he has donated over $10 billion to charity, mainly to educational and environmental causes. Bloomberg grew up in a middle-class family just outside of Boston. He studied engineering at Johns Hopkins and in 1960 landed a junior position at the investment bank Salomon Brothers. In 1981, Salomon Partners approved a $10 million severance package for Bloomberg to start his own company. That company became the genesis of what is now Bloomberg LP. Bloomberg created his own network to bring transparency around bonds, stocks, and other financial data. This revolutionary Bloomberg terminal became essential for traders, bankers, and fund managers. Subscription fees start at $24,000 a year per terminal to access it, which brings the company billions in recurring subscription revenue. Beyond the terminals, the company expanded into software, news, research, and magazines, along with billions more in ancillary financial products and services. Bloomberg stepped away from day-to-day management in 2001 to serve as mayor of New York for 12 years. Since then, 88% of the company has been sold to employees, while he retains 88% of the voting control. He has donated over $4 billion just to Johns Hopkins, making it the largest benefactor of any educational institution worldwide. Our number 13 is the founder of the famous fast fashion chain Zara. Amancio Ortega opened the first Zara clothing store in 1975 before expanding worldwide to become the largest fashion group in the world, Inditex. Ortega has quietly amassed a personal fortune of $98 billion. The Spanish business mogul is extremely private and owns numerous properties in major commercial areas around the world. Ortega has diversified his fashion business into the global real estate sector. Even in retirement, his fortune continues to grow year after year. Ortega was born in 1936 in northern Spain, one of 4 siblings. As a teenager, Ortega found work as a clerk in a local shirt shop. There, he learned how to make clothes and sell them. At 27, he struck out on his own, designing dresses and lingerie to sell to Spanish women. He opened the first Zara store in 1975 and quickly expanded to cities all over Spain. Sarah was a pioneer of fast fashion by moving runway trends to stores in just 2 weeks. Zara only produces limited quantities of each new clothing line, which keeps customers coming back, often. When a new fashion line sold out, Zara would restock those items in just a few days. Competitors took months to design and distribute new inventory. Instead, Ortega quickly grew his company Inditex by buying up existing retail chains and then rebranding them as Zara. Today, Zara has over 7,500 stores worldwide through various brands and subsidiaries. Number 12, Carlos Slim Helú. The Mexican tycoon Carlos Slim Helú ranks number 12 with an estimated net worth of $100 billion. He and his family controlled the largest mobile telecommunications company in Latin America, América Móvil. He also holds stakes in over 200 companies across sectors like mining, real estate, oil, hospitality, and entertainment, among others. Slim has been on the list of the richest people in the world since 2010. During economic crises, he bought struggling companies at bargain prices and reaped huge profits when the markets recovered. His critics accuse him of exercising monopolistic control in Mexico, while his admirers praise his business acumen. Carlos Slim was born in Mexico City in 1940, the son of a prosperous Lebanese merchant who emigrated to escape religious persecution. Young Slim learned business practices by working in his father's dry goods store. Later, he studied engineering and started building an investment portfolio by buying properties and government bonds. Little by little, Slim began acquiring huge stakes in sectors like banking, mining, retail, media, and telecommunications. His main strategies involved buying struggling companies at rock-bottom prices to make them profitable again. After the frequent economic recessions in Mexico, Slim could acquire assets for just a few cents on the dollar during the crisis periods. The recovery of the Mexican economy, the capital markets, and the middle class generated huge benefits for his investments. Today, Slim's empire, Grupo Carso, named after his late wife, controls over 200 companies, including the mobile phone company América Móvil, which has 300 million subscribers across Latin America. Slim continues to have a significant influence in Mexico and maintains long ties with the ruling political parties. Slim is known for his aggressiveness in acquiring undervalued assets, battling competition, and influencing regulations to his advantage, according to critics. Despite accusations of monopoly, his supporters admire Slim's economic management, which has managed to navigate Mexico's volatile political situation. During the COVID crisis, he donated $130 million for medical equipment and allocated $45 billion for infrastructure investments. In the coming years, Carlos Slim will have wealth that spans an incredible variety of businesses, along with the power and prestige reserved for one of the richest people in the world. The richest person in Asia is Mukesh Ambani at number 11 with $113 billion. he transformed Reliance Industries into the largest company in India, covering oil and gas, telecommunications, retail, and now technology e-commerce. Ambani's fortune has nearly quadrupled since 2016, and as his new digital ventures gained users and outside investments, he's focusing on clean energy, the Big Five, and online drug sales. Ambani also owns the Indian cricket team Mumbai Indians and the world's most expensive private residence, a $2 billion tower in Mumbai. Mukesh Ambani was born in 1957 in Yemen, where his parents lived briefly as Indian expatriates. His father, Dhirubhai Hay, started the precursor to Reliance Industries in 1966. He imported polyester and exported spices from India while expanding into the petrochemical and oil refining sectors. Mukesh joined right after graduating in engineering to learn his father's business. He quickly introduced innovations like building the world's largest oil refinery and mass-producing polyester in new complexes along the Indian coast. Mukesh leveraged his father's connections with powerful Indian politicians to acquire land and licenses. The expansion of capacity allowed them to take advantage of the growing local demand for energy as the middle class and the Indian economy grew. After the death of his father in 2002, Mukesh Ambani went through a bitter dispute with his younger brother over control of the company, which led to its division. From then on, he completely dominated the trust and became the richest man in Asia in a decade. His wife Nita, a former teacher, also evolved into a global business leader. As Reliance has been expanding lately, Ambani aggressively invested billions in emerging technologies like 2000 in retail, streaming, and even satellite broadband. He sold parts of Reliance worth billions to major investors like Facebook and Google. This helped finance new consumer-focused ventures like Reliance Retail and the digital platform Jio. Taking advantage of the smartphone boom in India, Jio gained over 425 million subscribers in just 4 years. In 10th place, we have Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google's parent company, Alphabet. Sergey and Google co-founder Larry Page together own more than 10% of Google's shares, which are now worth about $114 billion each. The couple launched Google in 1998, which now accounts for the vast majority of Alphabet's $1.5 trillion market value. Breen was key in developing the famous Google search engine algorithm. He also oversees Alphabet's X division, which works on ambitious scientific and technological projects. Breen has donated hundreds of millions to Parkinson's research and democratic political campaigns. Sergey Brin was born in Moscow in 1973 to Jewish parents, a mathematician and an economist who immigrated to escape Jewish persecution. He studied computer science at the University of Maryland, where he met Larry Page. They soon formed a close friendship over their shared ideas about using data mining and machine learning to improve internet searches. After heading west, Breen and Page studied at Stanford with the renowned computer science professor Rajiv Madhwani. Together, they worked on a research project called Backrub, funded by the NSF and Stanford, which aimed to analyze the massive graph of links between websites. He used this interconnected data to improve the relevance of the results beyond what other search engines were offering at the time. So, despite lacking business experience, they founded their own company, Google, in September 1998. The name Google reflected its mission to organize the exponentially expanding universe of the Internet. Based in a California garage, their homemade server index grew rapidly, indexing over 10 million pages in just 1 year. Venture capital investors quickly took notice and poured millions of euros in during the early years, before the valuation skyrocketed into the billions. Over time, Google became the most visited website in the world, with a share of internet searches exceeding 92%. Their innovative automated text ads alongside the searches introduced a completely new online marketing model. In 2004, Just 6 years after its founding, Google went public, valued at $25 billion. Number 9. Steve Ballmer. Ballmer was the CEO of Microsoft for 14 years, after his former partner Bill Gates stepped down. He still owns 333 million shares of Microsoft, along with the NBA team, the Clippers. His booming voice and energetic charisma were part of his signature style. While he was at the helm of Microsoft, he focused on cloud computing before handing over the reins to his successor, Satya Nadella, in 2014. Under Nadella's leadership, Microsoft's stock has tripled, which has skyrocketed Ballmer's net worth even after his departure. 2001. Born in 1956 on the outskirts of Detroit, Ballmer studied applied mathematics and economics at Harvard. There, he shared a dorm room with Bill Gates, a sophomore, and they became very good friends. After graduating, Ballmer worked in product management for the cookie company Procter & Gamble, but Gates convinced him to head up the marketing division at Microsoft. After moving the company to Washington in 1980, he led sales and support, managing the exponential growth of computers with Microsoft software. His loud and imposing presence, along with his marketing talent, perfectly complemented the technical wizard. Gates pushed the slogan "a personal computer" on every desk with Microsoft software, facing off against rivals like Apple and IBM. His aggressive and competitive style reflected the company's relentless ambition. Ballmer succeeded Gates as CEO from 2000 to 2014. While Windows Office was dominating the computer revolution, he more than tripled annual revenues, surpassing $70 billion. Through product improvement and global expansion, Ballmer oversaw major successes like the Xbox games, along with failures like the smartphone software. He realigned Microsoft around devices and services before stepping down amid pressure for a new direction. His personal 4% stake in Microsoft is now worth $119 billion, thanks to the growth of the stock, under his successor, Satya Nadella. Even though he's no longer involved, his booming personal fortune still keeps Steve Ballmer among the richest people on the planet. 2001. Number 8. Larry Page. In 8th place, completing our trio of Google billionaires with $119 billion, is none other than his co-founder Sergey Brin. Page was the CEO of Alphabet until he stepped down in 2019, although he and Brin still control the business and sit on the board. Page oversees tech incubators and is investing in life extension and flying cars. He's putting money into research against aging, hoping to one day cure death. Larry Page lives relatively modestly given his enormous fortune. He shies away from the public spotlight and focuses intensely on future innovations. Larry Page was born in 1973 in Michigan, where his parents worked as computer science professors. He studied engineering at the University of Michigan and became obsessed with how computer networks could organize global information. Page headed west to pursue his PhD at Stanford. In collaborating with Sergey Brin and their joint work on search technology, Page takes a long-term perspective that harks back to his youth. This includes considering the impact 100 years from now of inventing something as powerful as the internet. Even as CEO, Page bet on ambitious moonshots like Google's lab. While he relies on Brin to oversee the main revenue sources, like search engines, Alphabet is investing billions today in other experimental bets. Despite his fame, Page shies away from public attention and focuses intensely on inventing groundbreaking future technologies. Fortune once described him as painfully introverted, hiding relentlessly ambitious visions, perhaps only matched by SpaceX founder Elon Musk. Number 7 is Bill Gates. Of course, no list of the world's richest is complete without mentioning Bill Gates. Gates is currently number 7 with $124 billion. He co-founded Microsoft in 1975 and kicked off the personal computing revolution. Gates, who until recently was the richest person in the world, has donated $50 billion to charity and plans to give away most of his fortune. After stepping down as CEO of Microsoft in 2008, he has focused his efforts on global health, education, and climate change through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This tech visionary still believes that technology and capitalism can alleviate poverty and inequality around the world. Born in Seattle in 1955, Gates showed an early fascination with computer programming. At 13, he wrote his first software program for the Go system based on the game tic-tac-toe. Gates met Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen in high school, where they shared a similar passion for coding. Gates enrolled at Harvard University in 1973, but dropped out 2 years later. After co-founding Microsoft with Allen, they created software written in BASIC for the early personal computers, like the Altair 8800 from MIT. In 1980, IBM hired Microsoft to provide the operating system for its future personal computer. Gates cleverly acquired the rights to sell his MS-DOS system to any hardware partner, planting the seeds for Microsoft's dominance in the industry. MS-DOS, along with the Microsoft Office suite, became the standard business software as companies adopted personal computers. His rapid growth made Gates the youngest billionaire in the world, becoming a self-made millionaire in 1987 at the age of 31. In 1990, by 95, Gates had become the richest person in the world, as Microsoft's market share exceeded 90%. With the new Windows operating system, he created a technology empire worth more than $300 billion. In today's terms, Microsoft has become the largest company in the world, making Gates the first centibillionaire in history. Since stepping down, Gates has focused on philanthropy. He invested billions. Gates seeks solutions. Together with Melinda French, Gates has invested billions in the fight against infectious diseases such as malaria, HIV, and polio in developing countries. After leaving the Microsoft board of directors in 2020, Gates continues to seek innovative solutions that combine technology, science, and data analysis applied to humanity's greatest challenges. Now, number 6, the most famous and influential living investor, Warren Buffett. With $132 billion, Buffett runs Berkshire Hathaway, an expanding conglomerate with stakes in dozens of major American companies, earning him the title Oracle of Omaha. His investment track record and wisdom are legendary. Buffett made his first investment at the age of 11 and became a multimillionaire by 56. Now, at 91 years old, he continues to run Berkshire Hathaway alongside his partner Charlie Munger. Buffett lives modestly in Omaha, Nebraska, and is known for his humility. Despite his immense fortune, he has already donated $45 billion to charity and plans to give away more than 99% of his wealth. Born in 1930 in Omaha, his father, Howard Buffett, was a stockbroker and a congressman for 4 terms. His mother, Layla Stahl Buffett, ran a small grocery store. Young Warren showed an early fascination with numbers, business, and investing. After graduating from Wharton, Buffett studied with Benjamin Graham Svitausendian, the father of value investing, at the Columbia B School. He soon launched investment partnerships that became the precursor to Berkshire Hathaway. With funding from his family, Buffett built a diversified portfolio of undervalued stocks, insurance companies, and a bankrupt textile factory called Berkshire. His disciplined and rational analysis of companies' long-term liquidity generation capabilities led him to immense personal wealth. When his wife Susie passed away in 2004 after 52 years of marriage, she controlled over $2.5 billion in assets, thanks to her husband's early investment savvy. Over 6 decades, Buffett has acquired dozens more companies either wholly or in shares, across sectors like insurance, energy, transportation, industry, and consumer goods. Berkshire currently employs over 400,000 people, with dozens of subsidiary companies like Geico, Dairy Queen, and BNSF Railway. The Oracle, who is still in excellent health, has assured investors that Berkshire is institutionally prepared to outlast his life. In fifth place, we have Larry Ellison with $114 billion. Ellison co-founded the software company Oracle in 1977, which earned him a massive fortune in company stock. He stepped down as CEO of Oracle in 2014 after 38 years, but he still serves as its chairman and CTO. Ellison has already donated $2 billion to charity and has signed the Giving Pledge, a promise to eventually give away his fortune. He's known for his lavish lifestyle, with luxury homes, resorts, and exotic cars that befit one of the richest men alive. Born in Manhattan in 1944 to a single mother, Ellison faced hardships as a child. Ellison dropped out of 2 universities at the age of 20. After the death of his adoptive mother, he moved to California and honed his budding computer skills in the early 1970s. Among other things, he worked in repositories, wrote reports, and programmed in assembly language, which allowed him to earn a steady paycheck as a programmer. In 1977, Ellison teamed up with his former Ampex colleagues, Bob Miner and Ed Oates, to found the software development labs that would later become Oracle Corporation. They created Oracle's first flagship product, called Oracle Version 2, which was the first commercial relational database based on SQL, designed to manage information in systems that required large-scale servers. 1. Continuous maintenance. Ellison's software was different from the mainframe-based corporate databases of the time. This groundbreaking achievement earned Oracle over $1 million. In the first 2 years, Ellison aggressively marketed integrated enterprise software solutions, while Oracle became the industry-standard database for client-server networks. In 1986, just a decade after its founding, Oracle had already marked Ellison's debut on Forbes' list of the richest people, a list he hasn't left for over 35 consecutive years. Today, Oracle's dominant database still manages 91% of enterprise data warehouses and transaction processing workloads, despite intense competition from Microsoft, Amazon, and startups. Here in the top 5, now at number 4, is Mark Zuckerberg, valued at $170 billion. Zuckerberg is famous for having created Facebook in his Harvard dorm room when he was just 20 years old. Shortly after, he dropped out of school to work full-time at Facebook, which now has over 3.6 billion monthly users. Zuckerberg has faced scandals involving data privacy, election interference, and misinformation, but his claims continue to spread rapidly. He has almost total control over Facebook and its valuable data assets. At just 38 years old, he could climb even higher on this list in the coming decades. Born in 1984 in the suburbs of New York, Zuckerberg excelled academically with a knack for math, programming, history, and the classics. Among his early feats was creating communication software at the age of 12, along with Atari video games. He created a personal digital assistant with artificial intelligence while he was still in high school, and it's said that he once made a music app that could recognize his friends just by their footsteps. In early 2004, while studying at Harvard, Zuckerberg hacked the first FaceMash website, jokingly getting students to vote on who was more attractive on campus. This caught Zuckerberg's attention for the first time, including coverage from the Harvard Crimson. Shortly after, in February, Zuckerberg expanded his budding social network focused on Harvard's dorm life and university experience, leveraging viral growth to overcome the initial website crashes. In 24 hours, over 1,200 students had signed up, which marked an explosive adoption. Shortly after, Zuckerberg left the company to move its operations to Silicon Valley, a bold move for any founder, but especially for one who was barely of legal drinking age. However, users from elite college campuses and workplaces drove Facebook's expansion in that critical year before the site fully opened in September 2006. A decade after its founding in that Harvard dorm, Facebook quickly reached 1 billion users worldwide, thanks to Zuckerberg's visionary borderless platform. Mark Zuckerberg still holds absolute control with special voting shares and leads the vision connecting the global community. However, the Facebook creator has faced harsh criticism on privacy, misinformation, and hate speech. He balances contradictory demands as he leads the growth and innovation of his company. Zuckerberg, one of the early creators of the key underlying infrastructure of the internet that brings power but also civic responsibility as a framework for modern social discourse, has tried to balance often contradictory demands while leading the relentless growth and innovation of his company. Currently, Facebook manages a business empire that includes Instagram, WhatsApp, and the virtual reality company Oculus, while pursuing futuristic smart glasses, neural interfaces, and blockchain financial wallets. At 38 years old, Zuckerberg still has decades ahead of him with almost unlimited resources to shape our collective human future through his ideals of openness, community, and universal connectivity. Number 3, Jeff Bezos. The bronze medal for the richest person in the world goes to Jeff Bezos with $190 billion. Bezos transformed retail and distribution with his online bookstore, Amazon, which has made him incredibly wealthy. He founded Amazon in 1994 and still owns 10% of the company's shares. Bezos relentlessly pushed Amazon towards lower prices and faster delivery times. He recently stepped down as CEO to focus on other ventures. He owns the Washington Post and his space company, Blue Origin. Bezos has promised to fight climate change using his enormous wealth, but he has faced criticism for tax evasion despite his unprecedented fortune. Born in 1964 in New Mexico, Bezos' mother was a teenager when he was born. His biological father ran a bike shop. His stepfather, Mike Bezos, adopted young Jeff, who took on his last name. Young Bezos spent his summers castrating bulls and maintaining the equipment on his grandparents' 250-acre ranch in South Texas. He also showcased his engineering skills there, like homemade solar cookers and amateur electric alarm systems all over the property. Bezos studied computer science and electrical engineering at Princeton. After graduating, he worked at the telecommunications startup Factel before moving on to the Wall Street hedge fund The Show. He became the youngest vice president in the history of the shows before turning 30, thanks to his skills in computer systems and quantitative analysis. By then, he had already outlined his ambitions to use emerging online networks for global retail. So, in 1994, Bezos founded Amazon, selling books after driving west, backed by over $1 million in initial investment. Originally based in the garage of his home in Seattle, Amazon relentlessly pursued product expansion and fast delivery. Bezos drove innovations like personalized recommendations and fast, free shipping for loyal Prime members. This disrupted physical chains and expanded Amazon into countless retail segments, from fashion to groceries and streaming entertainment. Clever tech integrations like the purchase of robots. The company Kiba allowed Amazon to massively scale its operations through 200 warehouses that serve billions in e-commerce sales. Over the course of a quarter of a century, Amazon has amassed a colossal market value and made Bezos the richest man in the world, at least temporarily at his peak. In second place is the billionaire CEO of Centi, who has disrupted multiple industries. Elon Musk is valued at $205 billion. In 2001, Musk co-founded several groundbreaking companies, like the electric car manufacturer Tesla, the rocket producer SpaceX, as well as solar energy and artificial intelligence companies. He's known for being an eccentric workaholic who drives intense visions of the future. Musk aims for humanity to become a multiplanetary species, with the ambition of populating Mars in the coming years. He has promised to give away most of his money if it can be properly allocated to solving humanity's problems. Musk has over 100 million followers on social media and has turned upside down what many thought was possible through sheer determination. Born in 1971 in South Africa, Musk learned to program computers as a kid. By the age of 12, he had already programmed his own video game and was selling it to specialized magazines. His parents got divorced, and Elon had to live mostly with his engineer father. At 17, he left South Africa for Canada, dodging mandatory military service, and at 18, he enrolled at Queen's University. The move to Wharton brought Musk closer to the American business sphere, where he earned degrees in physics and business. In 1995, Musk moved to Silicon Valley, where he founded his first startup, Zip, a media publishing software for news organizations like the New York Times. Zip was sold in 1999, and Musk made $22 million. Shortly after, he launched X.com, which developed a digital payment infrastructure. X.com merged in 2000 with the startup Confinity, whose peer-to-peer digital transfers, PayPal, became a hit. When PayPal was sold to eBay in 2002 for $1.5 billion, Musk made $180 million. The new wealth allows Musk to find his future flagship. In 2002, Musk founded SpaceX, which builds rockets with the intention of enabling human colonization of space while reducing flight costs by 10 times. Days later, he founded the electric car manufacturer Tesla to accelerate sustainable transportation technology. Both companies narrowly avoided failures and production bottlenecks before emerging as staples, transforming the automotive and aerospace fields while expanding Tesla's sedans and later the eco-friendly solar panels. SpaceX developed reusable orbital-class rockets, gave birth to crewed dragons that transport astronauts, and launched the Starlink internet satellites. Now, with over 3,000 satellites in orbit, Musk faces significant criticism as a demanding boss who pushes unorthodox visions that meet skepticism. Yet, his ambition to take on enormous personal risk across multiple ventures has proven to be visionary. His growing wealth allowed Musk to develop neural brain interfaces, a tunneling equipment company, and even acquisitions like Twitter to further expand his reach. Sometimes eccentric, but undeniably original, Elon Musk has catalyzed entirely new industries that could fundamentally transform the human future on Earth and among the stars in ways we can't even imagine yet. The richest man on the planet in 2023, Bernard Arnault, with an astonishing net worth of $220 billion, oversees his massive luxury empire LVMH, which includes dozens of the world's top fashion and alcohol brands like Louis Vuitton, Dior, and Moët. His family owns almost 50% of LVMH and has created a multinational wealth giant. At one point, he seemed ready to surpass Elon Musk as the richest person in the world, until Tesla's stock rebounded. At 73 years old, Arnault has rapidly built LVMH, seizing opportunities and making strategic acquisitions over time. Born in 1948 in France, his father owned a major civil engineering company. That contributed to the construction in Africa. He studied engineering himself before joining a family business that sold construction materials, but Arnault, at 24 years old, saw greater potential in manufacturing luxury products for the European elite. He convinced his father to acquire the bankrupt textile company Bussac, including the luxury brand Christian Dior as the crown jewel. This first fundamental corporate acquisition made Arnault the new face of French luxury and marked the beginning of his focus on the exclusive ownership of the world's most prestigious brands. Why throughout the 1970s, Arnault continued to acquire renowned but struggling champagne, couture, and cognac makers, often for relatively low fees. He used his architectural, engineering, and creative direction to restore its profitability, prestige, and growth in what would become trademark strategies. By acquiring the majority of LVMH in 1989, Arnault played a decisive role as a catalyst for the greatest resurgence of French luxury ever seen, all concentrated under one umbrella. He had already been knighted for revitalizing and preserving French heritage industries, and he even convinced the French Minister of Economy to promote his advisors in high-level policymaking to boost luxury exports. Today, LVMH controls dozens of the most exclusive luxury houses, covering wines and spirits like Moët, Chandon, or Genesis, fashion like Louis Vuitton, as well as cosmetics, watches, and high-end retail chains. With more than $70 billion in sales in 150 countries, Arnault has made LVMH perhaps the largest personalized fortune ever derived from luxury. Critics fear Arnault will leave little room for emerging creative designers and crowd out competitors. However, no one disputes that LVMH maintains standards of quality and prestige that keep France as the chief arbiter of luxury worldwide. Arnault, who is already a high-level executive but remains closely involved, has even prepared his children to take on top executive roles, ensuring continuity alongside Gates, Buffett, and others. Bernard Arnault has etched his name forever among the richest titans of the modern world.